Today, I find myself in a very difficult position where I actually have to talk about very unfriendly women trade finance. What am I talking about? So this is what happened. An African government has asked me to facilitate more than 500,000 metric tons of maize valued at 212,850,000 US dollars, and another 34,000 metric tons of rice paddy valued at 26,517,000 US dollars. I already have 3 large milling companies whom I have vetted and are looking to purchase the maize. So when I talk about vetting, these are actual companies that we've done background checks on, and we know, and they're ready to take up the maize. This is my problem. The African government wants full payment before releasing the maize. The large milling company payment terms are 90 days, 120 days, 150 days, despite having the financial muscle and capacity to pay immediately. So you're telling me, but Faustina, there are banks that are willing to give women money to trade. After all, many institutions such as the AFAWA, AGF, AFDB, ITC, ITCC She Trades, IFC, Trade Development Bank, WIFI, including WTO, all have trade finance that are designed to support women like me. I totally agree. Unfortunately, those accessing those funds has huge barriers. And let's just be honest. Yes, it looks good on paper, but when a woman actually goes to access those funds, that's it's another challenge. So I'm here to ask, for how long must the mothers of Africa bear the financial burden of trading with large corporates? Yes, I'm just asking, for how long? Yes, despite efforts being made for women to be able to trade better, I still come back to ask, for how long must mothers of Africa bear the financial burden of trading with large corporates? Yes, there's an Africa we want, because as a woman, there's an Africa I want to see an Africa where African women, who are the backbone of Africa economies, are able to trade and have access to funds that have been specifically designed for them. And so I'm here to share my story, and I hope it will help shape the Africa that we want for the African women traders. Let me tell you about myself and how I've actually got to the position that I'm in. My name is fostinamani. I'm the founder of a private marketplace called Mothers of Africa Mobile Soko, and the website is www.mothersofafricamobilesoko.com. I'm also the Global Trade Engagement Director for Bettagrains. Bettagrains, the website is www.bettagrains.com. So, where does my story begin? Well, the concept of a mobile soko, or which I've dubbed now to call it Mothers of Africa Mobile Soko, was actually developed way back in 2008 when I was serving on the Eastern African Grain Council Board of Directors, as well as the private sector representative for on the advisory board of COMESA's ACTESA. ACTESA is COMESA's Agricultural Implementing Agency. I'm forever grateful for the opportunities that came with this position, because it allowed me to have access to African farmers, traders, especially women, who constitute 70 to 80% of the major players in the sector. The opportunity also allowed me the ability to be able to champion and lead various initiatives that would use agricultural market information system to structure Africa highly informal agricultural trade. I encountered many farmers and many women. This allowed me to see both the pain, the expectation, and the hope in many African farmers and traders in African markets. And one incident I can clearly remember when I was the team lead for a team of consultants that were working with the government of Rwanda, and we were actually crafting the business and the marketing plan for the Rwanda Grain and Cereal Corporation. Farmers had planted maize everywhere. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to visit Rwanda, but you would be shocked. Like everywhere there is maize. And these farmers, you could see them looking at me with hopes of, okay, yes, we've done our part, but are you going to help us market this maize? The interesting thing is that some of the maize that actually they were using as seed was actually procured from Kenya. So they were using actually Kenyan seed to grow their maize, and yet Kenya was still lagging behind, but yet Rwanda has managed to actually become food secure, so they have enough food. So you can imagine when farmers are looking at you, the women traders are looking at you, millers are looking at you and thinking, how can we get this done? But anyway, that's the path that I had to walk. And yes, the opportunity also allowed me to sit in very many trade forums, board meetings, conferences. But the more I sat there and I saw the look on the farmer's face, a disquiet began to bother me from within. It was over the huge disconnect between the African farmers, traders, and women being represented and what was actually on the ground. As what we Kenyans love to say, vitu kwa ground ni tofauti, meaning things on the ground are actually different from what is being portrayed. The disconnect bothered me because despite the millions of dollars being spent on Africa's agricultural development in terms of funding, and you know a lot of governments have done this, the impact of the impact was just a very, to me it looked like a very simple solution that could be implemented. Yet when you look at the amount of money that have been spent and the impact on the ground, it doesn't just add up. And so this bothered me for a while. So I remember in 2008, the World Bank asked people to submit proposals on how we could actually come up with innovative solution to solve Africa's agricultural problem. And that's how I developed the idea of seeing how we could pair women with their tech-savvy daughters. This was way back in 2008. Mobile technology was not at the level where it was. I don't believe even being able to access internet or using your phone was very easy. Remember, we had to use those sticks where you had to put in a SIM card, and even then the coverage was very limited if you were in the rural areas. So it was a concept that was ahead of time, but anyway, I went ahead and presented it. It was just a very simple solution because Africa's agricultural trade, commodity trade, is predominantly a woman's business. If you visit any home, the food granary belongs to the mother or the wife. So I submitted the proposal. I believe there were 1,800 proposals from all over the world. I managed to make it on the top 100. And so I got a chance to go to the World Bank in DC, Washington, DC, to pitch the idea. I did not win, but the information that was communicated to me was because they thought the concept was really heavily reliant on middlemen. That was the first one of the first reasons. But what many people don't realize is that actually the grain sector is predominantly a woman's business, and so sometimes you will see grain being ferried across, and many of us will think it's actually a man's business. But what you don't realize is actually a woman behind it. Somebody like Professor Thomas J. of Michigan State University and other researchers have done additional work to try and understand who are these middlemen. And actually the truth is, while you may see a man driving the lorry, or a man offloading or loading, or a man doing a lot of the things, the bulk of that grain actually, it's African women who go out. African women actually go to the villages, they aggregate, they finance that grains, they hire lorries to actually transport it. So just because you're not seeing a woman driving the truck, it doesn't mean that those grains do not belong to a woman. Then the second reason I believe that I did not realize that the concept might have been ahead of its time. Like I said, internet connectivity was not there, and again that time the focus was how do we bring structure into the agricultural trade. And then also access to trade finance was unheard of back in 2008. The focus was how do we bring structure to this highly informal structure. And an interesting thing, and now when I look back, I realized the African Gen Zs were babies, or they were yet to be born. So that was my journey. So back to my story. Remember, I was talking about the disquiet in my belly, about the disconnect. The confirmation actually did come one day. Let me just tell you about it. An international headhunter approached me, and they were looking to hire me for the position of an international commodity trade for one of the large global traders. I went through the interview, and the feedback that I got was I was too development world than an actual commodity trader. They thought my thinking was too development world. I'm telling you, this hit me like a ton of bricks, because the development world were already finding me too private sector on actually a commodity trade. So for me, that feedback was the confirmation and the hammer that hit the nail on the coffin. It hit me hard, because now I realized, wow, the disconnect that I was actually feeling, I had come actually the epitome of it. And so I realized that no, I needed to do something about it, not just for the sector but for myself. And so I realized I'm going to do what? I'm going to walk away, and I'm going to find a bridge. How do I tackle this bridge? The disconnect. And that is how I realized that I needed to walk away from the development world and actually focus on actually making markets work for Africa. So I left to find a solution to this disquiet and disconnect that I was feeling within me. And so that is how I started the Bettagrains website, www.bettagrains.com. It was simple. Our website with commodity photos, description, our retail price, our wholesale price, and price per bag. I don't know if I mentioned, I'm a second generational grain trader. My family has been in the grains business since 1968, and so I know my family, they're basically grain traders. That's what they've done. That is what they continue to do. And so we already had a retailer outlet where we were selling. And so what I did is I just went ahead, took photos of the products. I gave the retail price, the wholesale price, and price per bag. I wanted to offer Africa an organic African market information system, because during my stay on the EAGC board, I had an opportunity to work with RATIN, which is a USAID funded agricultural market information system that offered prices. Unfortunately, the format was very American commodity exchange type. It had scrolling text. The prices reported were in US dollars per metric ton. The focus was really on the wheat, the maize, and beans. For the beans, it just gave one beans price, and it had a graph. It was very targeted to the US format. So basically, I felt like the average farmer and the average trader could not really easily adopt to that format. Not to mention that they had a very a limited selection of products, because to me, I knew beans, there's so many different types of beans. And so I created a website. Let me tell you, it was embarrassingly simple. It was so simple, I was ashamed of it. Not to mention my friends thought I could do better. So it just had a photo, description of the product, street names, the retail price, and the wholesale price. Imagine my shock when that simply embarrassingly website saw us export our first consignment of milled flour to Australia within a very few months. Yes, that very website. I remember one time somebody actually walked up to us, and they offered us money to be able to develop a business plan for them in terms of grain. That's what that website had done. So I didn't realize that the simplicity had actually given us an edge. So we had farmers and traders and African women from all over Africa loving the website. Imagine my shock when we started getting emails from all over the world. I remember one time the Chinese government sent a delegation that reached out and asked us, can we possibly collaborate with them for an opportunity to distribute the rice, the Chinese rice. Much to my shame, we declined. And the reason why I declined is because I hadn't studied the Chinese rice trade very well, and I wasn't sure what the adoption would be in the African market. Another institution that reached out to us was USAID, the Markets Project in Uganda. They reached out to us for an opportunity to partner with them. And simply, again, what got us on their radar was the prices that we reported were actually more accurate than what was being reported on other market prices. The information we provided was so valuable, and we were advised to begin reporting in US dollars so that other international clients can be able to also enjoy the information much more easily. And that's what we did. We reported the Kenyan price and then we put it back at the US dollar price. Then as we continued, we realized that we had data on how we could actually be able to explain to people how to understand the flow of trade of the grains. I don't know if you know, Kenya is a net importer of commodities. We import a lot of our products from Tanzania and Uganda. I hate to say this, but Uganda literally feeds Kenya. And so we started reporting on the movement of the grain, and we call that the Eastern African Grain Trade Analysis. We showed the flow of the maize, including things like groundnuts from Malawi to Tanzania, and then making their way into Kenya. The website brought us wonderful opportunities, wonderful opportunities, including World Vision and SNV partnership project, the DryDev, Kilimo Trust Bean Consortium, which was linking farmers in Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and Kenya to traders. We also did a USAID farm trade project with EAF and many more others. These were opportunities. Other opportunities included ITC, the sheep trades, trade mission opportunities from many foreign embassies in Kenya, their departments of trade. It just brought a lot of opportunities from us. It also brought us opportunities for regional and international trade. And the opportunities were many. Remember, our goal was never to do bulk trade facilitation. Our focus was to just run our business and be able to do what we were doing, but the opportunities were many, and that's why we found ourselves in a position where we had to now think of how do we begin to do trade facilitation for the bulk of the large volumes that were coming to us. And so that's why we came up with the idea of fostinamani investments, and whose goal is simply to do trade facilitation. And the website is www.fostinamani.com. What we didn't realize was this many requests from buyers and sellers were the building block to, remember that concept we pitched way back at the UN in 2008, the one that wasn't working. We didn't realize that these were the building block. We didn't realize that this was what was happening to us. And then what we ended up doing is we created Mothers of Africa Mobile Soko, and their website is www.mothersofafricamobile.soko. All right, so fostinamani investment handles the facilitation of the large request to buy large volumes. These are usually large 20 metric tons and above. The large volume requests are not just, if you go to the internet, you find people are looking for commodity, but these are actually people we have vetted. These are buyers and sellers from all over the world. We have their business registration, we have their tax PIN. These are actual businesses. It's not just random stuff from the internet. And so what we do is we realize that these were business opportunity and actual trade deals. For every company that sends us a request, we do background checks to ensure that they are legally registered companies, as well as their requests are real. So we just don't work with random people. Companies were coming from all over the world, but the majority were coming from Africa, including government institutions, just very large corporates. And so we remembered, wait a minute, that project that we pitched at the World Bank Development Marketplace way back in 2008 had started to take shape. And so before long, I realized I was no longer that African girl who was too development world to be an actual commodity trader, but I was actually structuring large trade deals with corporates, farmers association, government institution, relief agencies. And even today, I'm still doing that, as well as mentoring other African women-owned businesses on global trade. But I have a problem. The problem is, I have encountered and I've begun to realize that this trade finance that has actually been there for women is not really very women friendly. Let me tell you my struggle so that you can be able to understand. I have done asset financing with banks, and so when I realized that this government opportunity came, I decided, let me go to the bank and see, because this is a problem. The government institution wants advance payment, and the buyers want 90 days, 120 days, and 180 days, or even 150 days. So how do I bridge the two? It's very simple. The money has been given to help to tackle this problem, and it's usually trade financing. So guess what? I went to the bank and asked to speak to the head of trade finance. They were busy, so I was given a junior staff. So I sat in the boardroom and I began to tell them, look, a government institution has asked me to offload 500,000 metric tons of maize, and I have the buyers, and what I just need is I need help in structuring the payment terms so that it's friendly towards me. Wow, let me tell you what happened to me. My idea, my concept, what I had gone, the capacity to handle 500,000 metric tons was reduced and rubbished to nothing, to a startup. And I'm not a startup. But I decided, okay, this is how you want to play it, let's play it. So I decided, let me humble myself. And so I said, okay, let's do a container size. Let's come down and go to the value of $500 million. Hey, I was rubbished. I remember that man looked at me and decided and had the audacity to tell me that I should put my business behind my husband's business. Okay. I told him, but I don't want this. My husband is not, he has his business. He doesn't want this burden. This is my business. He didn't want to know. Let me tell you, the way I was taught, I was made to feel like I was a useless woman, treated like a housewife, an employed housewife, like some sort of stay-at-home mom. And the annoying thing is, this man who was treating me like this is young enough to be my son. I've been doing the grain business long before he was even born, and he has the audacity to treat me like that. I said, no problem. So I played down. I said, okay, let's discuss this. Emotions aside, let's discuss this. What he didn't realize is that I've actually attended a lot of trade finance, and I understand trade finance. I've actually done some courses. And when he couldn't break me and he realized that I knew what I was talking about, you know what he did? I said, can you give me the payment terms? He stood up and walked away from me. Before he walked away, I said, I need you to send me I need you to tell me the trade finance, because at this point I realized I wasn't going to get anywhere, and I was prepared to go back and hit the books. And guess what? He said, I'll email them to you. I gave him my card. Today, he has not emailed me those trade terms. And my question is, do women have to go back and study banking and finance for us to be able to trade? That's my question. Why is it? It's clear these funds have been given to me. And you see, I wasn't even asking for a loan. I was saying, can you help me structure this deal so that the payment terms are favorable to me? And then this money has been given to the bank. All I'm saying, don't even give me the money. Pay the supplier, or collect money from the buyer and pay the supplier, and then give me what is mine. I'm not even asking you. Just do what then you should do as a bank. I was treated so badly. Not all the experience in that banking experience was bad, because I actually did meet some women who could understand and articulate the vision of where I wanted to go. And so that experience, after that experience, I came back and I sat down and I thought, okay, what just happened? I called myself to a meeting, and I quickly realized it was an opportunity for me to be able to make a difference, because one of my assignment, my kingdom assignment, is to champion for an agricultural markets revolution that favors Africa. And so here I am, finding myself again championing and asking for a change, and saying, and just coming out to these institutions that have given women access to trade finance. And I'm here to tell them that women are going through very unfriendly women experiences, and I'd like to see that changed. And then the second reason I realize is that I've also been, if I don't address this, if I who can speak and has the capacity to be able to speak on various social media platforms, who will speak for the 187 sellers, vetted sellers, who also need to be able to access this trade finance opportunity? Because you see, the women and the traders that we are working with, what we want is, we want to create an opportunity for them to be able to have repeat business. For example, their sellers will supply me with soya. I link them to the buyer. That trade is automatically facilitated so that they're able to deliver. Because imagine, I have over 98 products. 98 products. I can't be looking for buyer for every opportunity, and like I said, the opportunities are many. So what we're looking for is, we facilitate the trade, put in structure payment terms that someone is able to have repeat access to that opportunity. So this way we are able to have repeat income for our sellers, and also opportunity for repeat business. Because I realize not every deal that comes my way is meant to be for me. There are some that I'm supposed to pass to others. So again, my challenge is the experience that I went through, and it wasn't pleasant. But again, if that is the masculine mindset that we have with the existing institutions that are meant to give women access to finance, who will even believe that a woman who has worked hard, sat on boards, been invited to embassies, to meet trade attachés who are willing to give her trade, who will believe in a woman like me? I mean, I'm a bit ahead. Who will believe me? Who believe a woman is quite capable of doing this? So I'm here to say, there's a very woman unfriendly trade finance situation. And the issue women are dealing with is that masculine mindset that cannot comprehend a woman's capacity to handle government's requests for like 500,000 metric tons. A masculine mindset that will pull down and rubbish a woman's trade capacity and capability to the level of a housewife or a stay-at-home mom. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but that doesn't diminish her capacity to trade. At least respect the institutions that have approached her. Like I said, I was also impressed with a feminine mindsets are agile enough to be able to transition from a boardroom to even tying a wrap around the business suit while discussing new trade finance products that match the African women aggregators in the rural markets. Let me give you a practical example. A friend of mine was actually a relationship manager for one of the women in rural Africa. What this woman was doing, she just had a very small shop that when it was time for schools to open, the mothers would bring her cereals. She would give them money. They'd sell the cereals so that they can get money for school fees. She would hold on to this stock. She would fumigate. She would keep it. Then during the planting season, when there wasn't enough food, guess what? The same women came and bought the same products, but this time she sold it at a higher price, and she was able to make money. And when the bank looked at the rate at which they looked at her transaction, she was actually bringing in the bank a lot of money, and that's how she got assigned some relationship managers. So I'm here to tell you, yes, these women, they may not be your fancy executive in a business suit. She's just what we would call a mamamboga, you know, a wrapper with an apron sitting on sacks. It's not fancy, but it's very important for trade finance institutions and partners to be able to understand that we need that agility. You need to be able to transition from the boardroom to tying a wrap around your waist and discussing trade finance products with women in the rural setting. It doesn't, tying a wrapper doesn't make you any less, it doesn't diminish your capacity. It's just better customer service, and it makes you more relatable. I would love it if we could have feminine mindsets that are able to just break trade finance products and services to women exporters and importers, while being very sensitive to their domestic challenges. This is something that is really important for us. So what was I looking for, and why have I decided to do a video? I'm actually seeking a woman-friendly trade finance partners. I want someone who will be able to structure the payment terms of the trade finance products that are suitable and favor women-owned business, especially African women-owned business. My goal is, like I said, I want to extend repeat business opportunity to the women, so she's consistently being a regular supplier. One of the things I would like, and again, it's unfortunate that I went through this experience, I would like to have a very the partner to develop a very simple guide on trade finance payment terms that women can use to make informed business decision. Give women access to the funds that are allocated to them. They're not even asking for the money, but they're saying, if you don't even want to give them because you consider them risk, can you at least structure it so that you collect the payments and make the payments? All right. We need opportunities. African women they're balancing a lot. So I want to also, one of the requests that I would love to see, a lot of women are making headway with table banking. But for the particular women that I represent, many of them have asked, can we have a form of a consolidated fund that the bank would host and would be able to really use that as security or collateral for the trade finance, that for the commodity that we're selling. And again, even like, for example, in my situation, I'm not seeking direct funding. I don't want to be donor funded. And the reason why I don't want to be donor funded is because I know the operational costs that are affiliated to it. They have a very expensive labor budget or labor allocation. I run a very lean operation. It's working well for me. I'm able to trade volumes. I don't want donor funding. I also do not want an investor. Yes, because I have a very specific agenda. I know where I'm heading in terms of the Africa that I want. I know what I want to do with the agricultural marketplace, Mothers of Africa Mobile Soko. I've attended a lot of the bank forums, and everybody keeps telling us, you know, corporates are like that, so take it or leave it. 30 days, 60 days, 180 days, 150 days. I'm supposed to just take it and leave it. Well, they keep telling us that's the way it is, take it. No, but I'm here to challenge it. I'm here to say it's not fair. Yes, I'm here to say it doesn't have to work that way, because I know these very large corporates, there are ways that the banks have been able to structure certain terms to enable them to trade more efficiently. Why can't the same be extended to the women? Yes, I could walk away, but if I don't speak up, who will challenge this? Who will challenge this? And may I remind you, there was a point in time when slave trade was legal. Somebody had to get up and challenge it for it to be made illegal. And so there are some things that I'm looking for. I'm seeking for a Pan-African banking experience that is closely aligned to the women that I represent. My mission is to again champion for an agricultural markets revolution that favors Africa, and I'm here to tackle the issue of women and friendly trade financing products and services. Okay, we are committed. I'm committed to working to making sure that agricultural markets work for African farmers, traders, and youth. And we have a specific goal. I want to create the Africa that I want. I want the sellers that I represent to be able to create the Africa that they want. We have a very specific agenda, 2063 for Mothers of Africa Mobile SOCO. The Africa continental free trade area is too big for one person like me to handle it. That's why if the trade opportunities that are coming to me, I'm already passing them on to others. But then the question I'm asking, who is going to be able to take a chance on the African women, who's going to be able to represent us and who's going to be able to be sensitive to our needs, because we're looking for women friendly trade finance partners who will be able to handle cash management for us, financing, and come up with suitable payment solutions that meet the 187 sellers that I represent. Also, the women, African women, go through a lot. We require an element of confidentiality, trust, and non-disclosure, especially for the women's trade activity, both within and without the banking social networks. Our goal is to build long-term business relationship through repeat trade. And when I begin to explain the different personas that I represent, then you'll be able to understand that, you know, the African women is really burdened a lot. So who are these 187 women I represent? These are vetted buyers and sellers who are engaged in Africa's export and import trade. The network comprises of 70% women, 20% male, 7% farmers cooperatives, and 3% government institutions. Men actually comprise the majority of buyers, and most of most of our large buyers are large millers, large manufacturers of fast moving consumer goods, distributors, supermarket chains, and many more. But unfortunately, I've had to pause on onboarding new vetted buyers and sellers in order to make sure that I have actually successfully enabled the 187 that I have vetted, including myself, to actually be able to do the trade. So let's discuss the women personas that I represent. Let's call this particular lady Nadia. Nadia is an African woman-owned business. She's currently living in Africa and she runs her family business either as the mother, the wife, or the daughter. She is currently trading internationally and within Africa. Okay? That's one, Nadia. We also have an international version of Nadia, who we call Kelly. She's a resident of US, Thailand, Spain, Canada. She's currently also running a family business, either as the mother, the wife, or the daughter. And Kelly is a vice president or director of international export, seeking new opportunities in the African market. Then we have the other woman seller, who we shall call Ngena. This woman is an African-owned business currently supplying to supermarkets and also involved in government tenders. She's active in cross-border trade and she's sourcing and distributing her products from all over Africa. Then there's Njoki. Njoki is the African diaspora buyer. She's an African resident in the UK or US or Australia, and she's currently running an online or a physical shop that sells African ethnic foodstuffs. These are stuff that she's importing from Africa and selling in her shop. And then, of course, I have the African millennials or the Gen Z, and we shall call this one Nzilani, resident of Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and South Africa. These are agricultural trade startups who are looking for partnerships, and majority of them, like I said, are Gen Z. They are very impatient, they're tech savvy, but they also need to be mentored and offered direction. And one of the things that we are doing is we're actually building their trade capacity and teaching them through guided experience so that they can be able to access these opportunities. So let's dig a little bit deeper on Nadia. Again, this is the African woman. She's 45 years and above. She's running the family business either as the mother, the wife, or the daughter. She's the vice president and director of exports to Sub-Saharan Africa. She may actually be involved in export to international markets on flowers or fruits. Nadia is a university graduate with an MBA, postgraduate diploma. She has more than 15 years working experience in Africa's regional trade as a professional expert, project management, and she's also done some consultancy work. She has access to old money and powerful political connection. which she quietly conceals in humility and meekness, and she may not look it. And again, this is something to be on the lookout for. Not everybody who works seeking into looking for trade finance product, they may not look like their bank account may not look like their presentation. So don't be quick to judge a book by its cover. Nadia is extremely private with very strict requirements on confidentiality, trust, and non-disclosure for the woman's trade activity, both within and without the trade finance partners, social network, and circles. Some of these people are very influential. They could be wives of presidents, politicians, side chicks, or you never know who. But that's why it's very important for us to be able to respect and maintain their confidentiality. And remember, they are old money, and old money does not make noise. Nadia's monthly turnover is 15 million shillings or 115,000 US dollars. She's interested in repeat opportunities in other African markets she has access to large government contracts. Nadia is not really interested in thought-provoking forums, trade missions. She has attended many. She's collected enough business cards. She's only interested in actually growing her trade portfolio across other African countries and the globe. Her focus is getting her products into other African markets by taking advantage of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. She has a vision of the Africa that she wants for her family and her company. And remember, again, being old money, she's probably looking at, she's the mother to the third generation of traders, and so she's rearing her children to take over the family business. So she's also nurturing and mentoring the Gen Z and millennials. Okay. So again, Nadia's interest is to establish and build distribution networks to other African markets through the marketplace networks that we are offering her. Let us discuss Kelly. Kelly is the international version of Nadia. Kelly is Caucasian. She's from America, Asia. She's Hispanic, European, and she may be from the US, Canada, Thailand, Spain, or Australia. She's the vice president or director in charge of international trade. She's a university graduate with an MBA or postgraduate diploma with 15 years work experience in global trade. Again, she also has access to old money and powerful political connection, quietly concealed in humility and meekness. Her monthly turnovers would be about 3 containers, 15 million US dollars, which is about 115 US dollars. She's interested in accessing African markets through government recommended partners. She has access to her country's farmers organization, national cooperatives. She's a board member on Regional Trade Association. She has participated in many government trade missions, and she's seeking for buyers who are very intentional in selling her products across various African markets, and that's what Mothers of Africa is looking to do, connect her to these buyers. She knows about the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. She recognizes it's a huge market and it has the largest youth population, so she wants to take advantage of that opportunity. She wants to establish and build direct network distribution leading to African markets, especially in those countries which have bilateral trade agreements with her country. Mothers of Africa Mobile Soko will provide her access to other buyers across Africa while giving her additional opportunities to aggregate more volumes from her country to other African markets. Let's talk about Ngena. Yes, Ngena represents a lot of the African women, and Ngena is about 30 years old above. She is an African woman who's resident in Africa. She is the CEO and the founder of an African-owned business. She owns and controls and fully manages her business. Her monthly turnover is between 1 to 500 million shillings, which is about 38,461 US dollars. She distributes commodity and offers products which include supply contracts to government procurement. Her clients include large corporate supermarkets, chains, and a network of wholesaler and retailers from all over Africa. She's a member of various women networks where she has access to trade exhibition, conferences, training, and mentorship forums. Her greatest pain point is very unfavorable payment terms that leave her business cash-strapped. She greatly needs a woman-friendly trade finance partner. Even for the 187 sellers we've been discussing trade finance, they've just been like, don't even bother. So when you see me presenting here, I'm actually presenting a real issue. The Mothers of Africa online circle is facilitating trade for her by establishing and building repeat business for her through a distribution network. And I said, I can't handle all the products that I sell, so I need to offload and onboard this. Remember, I'm just reporting on agricultural commodity trade. I have not even started. I've not even started dealing with spices and things like that, and herbs and seeds, and there's so much opportunity. But again, what is holding back women, especially African women, is very unfriendly women and unfriendly trade finance partners. So we need to really address this issue. Like I said, women are not the only sellers that I serve. I actually have males. Yes, I said they're small percentages, but they're there. So who are the male? Like I said, the male are mostly the buyers. I have a few male who I would like to share their persona. So the male that I have, imagine that, those African Asians who've been in Africa for a long time. They're running family-owned business, huge supermarkets, large cooperatives. These are also brokers selling on behalf of international and regional private companies, and their farmers cooperatives from India, Pakistan. The African Asian may be selling for, like I said, for countries like India, Pakistan, and China. I am also working with Somalis who are directly importing commodity from Ethiopia, Egypt, India, Pakistan, UAE, and China. I also work with Africans of Arabs who have access to a wide network of old family Arabs in the coast area, and also with partnerships in the UAE. So yes, I'm working with a diverse, and of course there's a majority of also Africans from all over the world who asked me to just help them facilitate the trade. Interestingly, from the commercial attaches invites that I get, we also have men from other countries. We have African American men who have also reached out to us representing their nations, and farmer organizations. Also included in these are also Africans in the diaspora who are seeking to also get involved in the export and the import of products from and to Africa. All right. So there, like I said, the requests are many, but again, my challenge remains women and friendly trade finance partners. And this is where I really would like to just really talk to our men. Let me call them our sons, because some of them are my son's age. And even the ones who are not my son's age, they were raised up by African women. And I want to remind them, you were probably raised up by a woman who sold her farm products to raise you. Your mother struggled. She may have been working as a teacher. She may have had a professional, but if you are raised in Africa, she was probably not earning enough money. Many of you are, being Africa, we're a polygamous society. Your mother may have been the first wife or the second wife. You have been abandoned, a product of an extramarital affair. But the woman who really slaved and gave up her future for you was an African mother. And the question I'm asking you is, yes, you saw your mother struggle. How did you feel? And this is what I'm telling you. African women are selling their products, but they have to wait 60 days, 30 days, 90 days, 120 days, 150 days. How would you struggled? You know what it felt like for you. You went with food because your mother sold products and she had not been paid she had not been paid. You know the struggles that your mother went to get to give you food, to pay for your school fees. Now that you are in a position, you're sitting in a position where you have within your power the privilege of being able to extend access and an opportunity to another African woman like your mother, you choose to deny her the same opportunity you wished your mother had. And so Faustina may come to your bank just looking like Faustina. She may not even be from your village. She may not be from your county. But what you do not realize, for example, is that one of the sellers that I'm facilitating trade for, she's someone who came to us. She was selling butter beans. No, we couldn't take a lot of those butter beans, so we took the few that we could and we worked with her. But because she was supplying us that opportunity to be able to reference better grade, she was able to now link up with another buyer. The doors have opened for her. She's supplying supermarkets. She's working with people who are looking at canned cooked foods. There's an opportunity that we've been asked to see if we can find githeri in cans so that we can actually export it to Australia. But you see, behind this woman, because we've been able to offtake the little that she had, now she's been able to buy butter beans from her county. She's from Nyandarua County. So, and for the longest time, one of the things she said, she's a third generation of farmer of butter beans. And the biggest challenge they used to have in Nyandarua County was they couldn't find markets. But you see, I am working with this woman to facilitate trade for her. I don't have to come from Nyandarua County to be able to give an opportunity to the women in Nyandarua County. But yet you, who has access, and you have it within your power to help me and the women that I represent, you deny me access. You deny me access because I may not look like your mother. I don't come from your community, because I am not your tribe. And then I'm not even asking you to give me a loan. I'm asking you, there's someone who provided collateral and security for you to be able to help me trade, and yet you deny me that. You make the whole experience very unfriendly. You diminish me, pulled me down to put me down so that you can feel important. How does that even help you? You have the audacity to ask me to put my business behind a man, yet you know what your mother went through. When did that one begin? Those days when women used to have to get permission from their husbands to open a bank account are long gone. It's not even it's not even a Christian value. The story of the woman in Proverbs 31, the Bible says that she was an international trader with the capacity to be able to buy a home, land, and plant a vineyard. So are you telling us that you cannot give access to women? And then what many of you do not even realize is that when you're helping a woman, you are reducing the load of black tax on you. If your mother has an opportunity to be able to earn money for herself, why would she be asking for money to you? When you deny me and the women I represent money, you're indirectly denying your sisters, your wives, your mothers access. And don't forget, you also have daughters. I'm not asking for much. I'm just saying, can you give women access to what has been deliberately given to them? You don't have to be mean about it. And we all know a lot of these funds that have been there given to women, the women who deserve it don't access it. It's preserved for another. I'll leave that for another day. But again, I'm here to say, and I'm here to challenge AFAWA, AGF, African Development Bank, ITC Street Trades, Trade Development Bank, WIFI, WTO. Yes, they all have given a lot of money as trade finance to help support women like me. Unfortunately, access has not been as easy as it seems. And then even for those institutions, allow me to just take some time and really just challenge them. Like in my case, 500,000 metric tons, total budget 212, $850 million. Yes. Do you believe me? Do you believe me? Do you believe I have the capacity to be able to handle that volume? Yes, I have the buyers and I have the seller, but are you willing to take your chances on this woman? And this woman is not your average woman, because remember, you have provided numerous trade opportunities. You've been in communities where you've created for us to be able to do international trade. You have trained us well. In fact, ITC, they have amazing products. I have taken the trade finance. Now that you have educated us, and some of us have graduated, now the next question becomes, are you willing to take a chance on us? Are you willing to take a chance on us? Yeah, that's my question. I know IFC, they financed Dangote. I don't know that, I can't remember if it was the milling factory, or as he was doing, he needed to a factory for cement, or I don't know if it was an oil plant. Again, the question is, I'm asking you, this African woman, I'm not even asking you for a loan. I'm not even asking you to fund my business directly. I'm just saying, I don't even want a milling factory. No, I'm just saying, since you've already given that money, that fund as collateral and security for women to be able to do business, can you extend that to me? And by the way, this is not the first time a government institution has reached out directly to me. This is the third time. Yes, I managed to talk myself from the previous two, but this one, they are very women friendly focus. I'm the only one who got selected from a large number of traders. I have tried to sabotage my way out of it, but they just will not give up on me. And I keep going back to them and telling them, I didn't realize women accessing trade finance was such a difficult, but they've still not given up on me. They still keep following up on me. They still keep checking on me. So my question is to those huge institutions, are you willing to take a chance on me? Do you believe me? Because the documents are there, the institutions are there, I've vetted them. But the question is now, can you take it to the next level? There are women who are outliers. There are women who've moved ahead of the pack. Are you able to do that? And my capacity and capability has clearly been demonstrated in the many of those forums that I've been. So again, I'm here to ask, which trade finance institution will believe in a woman like me who has sat on many boards? I have a track record that is being approached by government institutions to facilitate that volume of trade. It's not that I don't have the buyers, they're there. Yes, but I'm not even asking for a loan. I'm just saying, can you help me structure these deals for me and the 187 other sellers that I represent? Would you believe this woman, this African woman, has been approached by large corporate buyers, including emergency relief food, to offtake an entire government consignment, even the maize? I don't need to sell it to the large buyers. I have institutions that are involved in emergency food relief that can easily offtake this. But let me also share my story. I have been approached by, I was approached by a Canadian government institution that was involved in relief food, and they actually looked for me and sought a meeting. And in my conversation, I actually told them, I don't want to do business with you. Why? Because I've seen what WFP has done to many institutions in terms of the performance bond. One of the things that have happened, and we never really get a chance to talk about it, I know women who've gone belly up because what you did is you went and you bid for a job. WFP has a performance board. Because you were not knowledgeable in the market prices, you undercut yourself. When it was time for you to deliver the commodity wasn't available during that season. Your price to offtake was higher. You made a loss. You were not able to deliver, and guess what? Just like that, you lost your money. And I've seen many institutions, many family-owned businesses go belly up because of this. And so when this institution approached me, and I said, no, I don't want to do business. I'm also aware for some of those institutions that have been successful in providing this emergency relief food. I know many, you literally have to travel to Italy, Rome, to get your check. So that those who handles those burdens. And so for the longest time, we hear you, we know you're there, but we're just saying it's not fair. It's not fair. It's not really fair, and it's not a secret. This is something I've even mentioned to the WFP person in charge, a good friend of mine in Kenya. Once we met at a meeting where the Brazilian government had organized a B2B meeting, and he asked me, why is it you don't supply WFP? I told him, you think I'm mad? No, I know what you people do. And we laughed about it because the truth is actually admitted. There are very many people who would like to kill him because their businesses have gone belly up. They have lost millions. They have lost millions in that performance bond. You lose millions like that and you think people let you go. And so because I'm in the sector and I know this, the question becomes, Can we organize, can these relief agencies come in and see, can we organize things so that we can do them in a way that we're not destroying African businesses. The other thing also I would like to speak about is to the banks. The especially, like for example, this is in Kenya, but I know it will soon be rolling out to other African countries. Most of the banks, they have their central banks have requirements for them to maintain a high cash, be very liquid, to maintain high cash levels, and the requirement in Kenya is 100 billion shillings. Yes, you have to have a cash flow, you have to be very liquid. That's what the Central Bank of Kenya is asking for. And when you look at social media, a lot of those, it looks like some of them may be going belly up. And yet, when me, a woman, I come to you and I tell you, here's this opportunity for 212 million US dollars deal, all you need is 27.5% of that deal for you to be able to meet your minimum cash requirement. And then we haven't even discussed, you know how much you charge in trade financing. Say for example, you are even to charge 16. Yeah, 16. Guess how much cash you would be able to make from your trade finance bills if you would listen to me and bank on me. You would make, yes, I know you know how much you would make out of the 212 million US dollars. Even if you were to make 10% of that, that is still 20 million. And I know you charge more than 10%. So again, I'm saying, can we stop pulling down women to the lowest level? That doesn't serve you, doesn't help you in any way. So stop looking down on us. And again, my call to is to AFAWA, AGF, Africa Development Bank, ITC, She-Trades, Trade Development Bank, WIFI, and WTO. I'm just saying thank you for trade finance that is there to help women like me. But the question is, are you really willing to help an African woman like me to trade better? It looks good on paper, but unfortunately, it's very woman unfriendly. And so I would like this to be addressed so that women are able to trade. So what is my ask in the middle of all this? I'm looking for a trade finance partner who is willing to assist and guide African women gain access to trade finance funds that have been made available for women. I want a trade finance partner who believes in a woman's ability to facilitate huge African government trade opportunities like myself. I have many other women who are similar, in my similar situation. I'm not asking for direct funding for me or even for my marketplace in the form of funding and grant. I already told you, I don't want, because it comes with a huge operational budget that I'm not interested in meeting. But let the fund remain with the trade finance partners. My highest priority is finding a mechanism that is fair to the women and is very friendly, that is going to give them women-friendly payment terms. My marketplace is a very lean operation. My focus is bulk buys and sells. I don't need to engage myself in endless paperwork, expensive payrolls. I don't want high operational costs. I hate meetings. I don't want that. I'm one of those ones who are very happy with working virtually. All right. I don't need that. I just want fair access to women, friendly payment terms, and I run a very lean operation. I'm not looking for investor because I know where I want Mothers of Africa to look like come 2063. There's an Africa that I want for African women, especially me. There's an Africa that women, the sellers I represent, there's an Africa they want. And so that's the reason why I don't want an investor. The Bible says the borrower is a slave to the lender. I love the flexibility and the ability to be able to get on social media and challenge some of these institutions and say, no, this is not right. So the marketplace is 100% self-funded. We're not seeking, we don't want to do massive growth is not our business. We just want to be able to give our 187 clients an opportunity for fair payments, payment terms that work very well, and so that we can engage in repeat business opportunity. And I'm here to tell you, this African woman, unlike Dangote, is not looking to build a cement factory on an oil plant. I just want access to those trade funds that have been made available by institutions like a World Bank. I'm even to the World Bank. I mean, I pitched in 2008, and it worked. You know, I remember the project number was 6627 at the Development Marketplace at the World Bank. In fact, the project was dubbed Agricultural Market Informations by Women in Formal Trade. Now we've dubbed it and called it Mothers of Africa Mobile Soko. Then the Global Information Communication and Technology Department of the World Bank had expressed an interest to learn more about my idea so that it can be part of their research and innovation for ICT projects in rural development. They wanted to see how this can help them support ITC in rural development work. Again, I'm presenting to you not just rural Kenya, but Pan-African rural areas, market linkages, market access. If you will even just, you can automate, you're free to automate whatever you want. It will give you insights. You'll be able to have more accurate information, because I remember, and again, I'm back here, and I'm the first one to admit, way back in 2008, the project was ahead of its time. The mobile technology was not where it needed to be. Access to trade finance for women was not the development agenda at that time. The focus was structuring Africa's informal trade. And like I said, the Gen Zs were babies and not yet born. And even me, Faustina, needed to take a step from the development work and see how can I actually make this solution work. And I'm a proven example. The solution actually has worked. IFC, Banking on Women, Global Trade Finance. Let's just be very honest. I know, I'm in the sector. I know it's been a challenge getting women to just get up and speak. I know, I'm in communities where there's a lot of people don't speak as much, and they don't have maybe the guts that I have to actually address some of this issue. We know we're having a challenge, and then I'm here to say thank you for the opportunities, but I'm here to tell you that it is very woman unfriendly, very. And I know you've given banks 235 banks are participating in 75 countries. So I'm here to represent women and tell you there is an unfriendliness that is making it very difficult for women to access some of these funds. I know your goal. You have provided tools and incentives to the participating banks to track businesses with these women-owned businesses. Yes, we've gone for the training. Yes, we've traveled. Yes, we've attended B2B. But there are women who are saying, we are done with the training. We've graduated. We have our certificates. We have collected enough business cards. We're ready to trade. But the question is, are you willing to take us to the next level? Will you actually step up and make things work for us? Like I keep saying, I'm not Dangote. I'm not looking for a huge loan or massive investment to build a factory. I'm just asking for a woman-friendly trade finance partner who will allow us to have access to the funds and will also work with me in structuring payment terms that are African women-friendly. Like I said, this is not the first time a government institution has approached me. This is actually the third time. But apparently this African government is very intentional about supporting women. So now the question becomes, are you going to help me access what I need to access to facilitate this trade? So the question is, will you support this African woman? She's different, strategically positioned to help governments, financial institutions, and others to improve the business environment for trade and increase financial solutions for women. The question is, do you believe me and will you help me? I love ITC, especially She Trades. They have done amazing work in inviting us for international B2B meetings. They have wonderful SME programs that have trained us. They have taught us well. And my question now is to ITC and ITC She Trades. It's time to implement. I'm one of those women who've been very intentional. At some point I said, I don't want to go for those trade missions anymore. I have enough business cards. I have enough, a big network. I just want to trade. And so this is my crowd to the ITC Shipwrights community and ITC Ecom Connect community. Who is going to take a chance on me? Who is going to fund this project? And I'm here to tell you, yes, unlike Dangote, I'm not asking for a massive loan to build a factory. No, I don't want a loan. I'm just saying, if you put funds aside to help me trade as collateral and security, can I access those funds and without being treated badly? That's my cry and plea to you today. Africa Development Bank and the Africa Export-Import Bank. Yeah, there's an Africa we want, there's an Africa I want. And you're right, women are the backbone of Africa's economy. They facilitate the intra-Africa regional trade. And again, my question to you is, this woman has come to you. I'm no Dangote. And I'm not asking for a massive loan. I'm not even asking for you to invest in my company. I'm just asking, can you give me access? I qualify. Can you give me access? And the question is, are you ready to help a woman like me? And then my national and international banks, my plea to you is the same one I made to our African sons. Are you willing to help an African woman just for the sake of your mother? Now that you have access and opportunity, it's leverage, it's power you have within your hands, are you going to extend that to an African woman? Remember your central bank requirements. This is an opportunity for you to raise your cash liquidity. Are you willing to take a chance on us? Your loans belong to the trade finance funds belong to politically connected individuals. And there's something else I would like to ask and address. Some of the things you're asking for African women are not really fair. If the bank statement you send me is password protected, if access to my KRA records is access protected, why do you need to study my bank statement? And like some of the women in the personas that I shared, someone like Nadia, she may be running a serious family business. Do you seriously think that she will be given permission to share some of those financial statements? Do you seriously think that? Must you? Well, how does that? If there's security that has been given and you're controlling the payment for the buyer and the seller, why can't you just settle for that? Why must you embarrass women? And allow me to share a story that happened to me. Against better judgment, someone once asked me to expose such records. Better judgment, they didn't even offer the financing, the funding that they needed. But let me tell you what that thing made me feel. It made me feel exposed and naked. It actually made me feel violated because it wasn't proper for them to expose my business to that level. I know you can come to my house and you can, when I have visitors, you sit in my sitting room because you need to see the space where I live, but must you come to the bedroom? Must you uncover? Do you need to uncover a woman's nakedness to know that she's a woman? Can't you use other parameters and other measures to be able to look at this woman and see if she meets the requirement and regulation? Yes, you say it's banking requirements, but I also say slave trade was illegal, but somebody challenged it and it became illegal. And I'm here to say there's a dignity. There's a dignity and a respect that these women need. If must you expose them? Must you expose them? Must you humiliate women? If you yourself, you would be sued for sharing her bank statement without her consent. Why are you demanding it? Why are you tying it to the trade finance company? Can't you find another way of determining her capacity to be able to trade? Why can't you just look at the contract that she has and what the buyer and the seller say? Must you uncover her nakedness? Must you insist that she hides under her husband's business? What if the husband is a head of government or a powerful politician and you will not give her access to that information? Why are you doing this to women? It is so wrong. And I hope that some of you will begin to look for pepper. There's a way you can structure a deal so that you can minimize your risk without uncovering a woman's nakedness. You don't need to see her naked to know that she's a woman. You can tell a woman is a woman. So some of these requirements need to be changed. and it's unfortunate, but you're really just diminishing the value of women and just treating them horribly. So if you're a woman-friendly trade finance partner, this is how you can reach me, so we're able to work together. Please email trade@fostinamani.com the following information. I want a brief company profile clearly demonstrating your woman friendliness in terms of trade finance. I want a list of trade finance products you would recommend for each woman as African woman persona, including the international persona that I've shared, that are represented within the 187 sellers that I seek to facilitate trade for. I want a very simple, short brief of the payment term structure for each trade finance program. I wanted it given in the for Dummies series. It needs to be non-intimidating, a very simple, short brief on the payment term structured in such a way that it's in the format of the Dummies series. It's non-intimidating guide for African women SMEs. I would also like to see the profile of the client relationship team. With each team members, I'd like to see a brief and a LinkedIn profile. Again, I told you that masculine mindset that will not pull a woman down. I'm looking for the agility of a feminine mindset that can transition easily from the boardroom to being able to tie her up and sit on a sack of maize while discussing trade finance deals. I have the deadline for this would be 5th of October 2025. Thank you for listening to me. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, and I look forward to just changing this space so that women can be able to do trade for themselves. Thank you, and God bless you. Bye.